Männer! Es war ein langer Krieg. Es war ein tapfer Krieg. Ihr habt tapfer und stolz für euer Vaterland gekämpft. Seid eine besondere Gruppe, die ineinander...
Hey everyone, this is the Hydra Hut, and this is Deathstroke, Chinatown, Part 1. So let's talk about the cover first. The cover, at first glance, looks pretty cool. I saw that it was Part 1, and was like, yeah, why not? Let's do this. But when you really start looking at it, it's actually kind of lame. I mean, the reflection in the blade, that's getting kind of old. I think everybody has to have a cover where they homage that. And if you look closely, it's Chinese Superman and Deathstroke battling in a whole bunch of different scenes. But if you're not really paying attention, it just looks like Deathstroke beating the shit out of himself and then a couple shots of some Asian dude. But it is I don't know. It's a good foreshadowing for what's inside the book, so give it credit for that. This is by Priest, Neves, Scott, and Cox. Looks like there's a digital comic code inside, so I'll probably be throwing that up at the end of the video. See if people actually start taking these things. So, I have not been reading Deathstroke. I read the annual, I think, from earlier this year. And they reference the annual, but it's from something I don't remember, so that's why I'm not positive if I actually read it or if I just read a different annual that had Deathstroke in it. Anyway, this is issue 28, but Chinatown Part 1. Being Chinatown Part 1, I figured I could jump in and not be confused. And I was wrong. So, if you're caught up with the story, then this probably makes a lot of sense. But being as I wasn't, we basically see old man Deathstroke checking out a sword in a museum. And we see it at first, and then we get this failsafe, 955 years from now. And then some kind of pointless dialogue. We can see Deathstroke staring, and then priceless, Minneapolis, 1 year ago. And he's selling that same sword for $10 at a pawn shop. So, I'm assuming, just going by this is 955 years into the future from wherever our current point is. And then this is 1 year ago from whatever our current point is. So last year he sold the sword for $10, and then 955 years into the future he sees the sword in a museum, I guess. Anyway, it's basically Deathstroke, I think, tried to retire, and now he's back. I'm not actually 100% sure on what's going on here, but we see Deathstroke in a crowded train. We get this Mickey Rooney-looking thug here who looks pissed off to be alive. Behind him's a cop and a mother with her 2 annoying kids. As the scenes progress, Deathstroke kills this dude in a crowded train. Nobody notices. And then as he's about to leave, he stops and whispers some sweet threats into this cop's ear, basically telling him that if he does anything about it, he's going to go and he's going to kill the guy's wife. He's going to drown the guy's children. I'm sure it's supposed to be setting us up for what a badass Deathstroke is, but it's just, I don't know. It's kind of lame and played out, and it doesn't really impress me for Deathstroke. Plus, what kind of fucking, what kind of assassin goes and kills somebody in the middle of a crowded train where there are literally hundreds of possible freaking witnesses? Anyway, then we get the badass out the door. You know who I am, with his costume below his trench coat, because that doesn't make you stick out like a sore dick. And then we get him standing up on a building, giving the Titanic pose. And we see that he's got, and this is, again, if you've been reading the story, you probably know exactly what's going on, but I'm not caught up on this. So to me, he's just got some random dude behind him monologuing against his thoughts. Turns out that's actually wintergreen uploaded into a, how does he put it? A video feed emitted from a neural transmitter grafted to my spine. And then our boy Alex here tells us, see last issue, Alex. Which is nice. Every time they make some sort of reference to something I don't understand, Alex always has my back and he tells me where it's at. But I'm not going to go read 17 freaking different books just so I can be caught up on this one. Sorry, Alex. But I still appreciate what you're doing. So as the story goes along, a lot of people that I'm not familiar with and a lot of stuff that I'm not familiar with is happening. But basically, it appears that Deathstroke's daughter has got in the middle of a fight where Deathstroke was fighting somebody else. She got severe head damage, and now she has split personalities and sometimes goes by the name of Scarlet, where she goes out and senselessly murders people until she comes back to reality. We get this big guy who I don't know who he is either. Alex tells me I can know more about him in issue 9, but I don't know more about him yet. What was his name? David, I think, or Dave. Back in China, though, because apparently Chinatown is actual China, not just Chinatown in America. We see the Chinese Superman, and he's bragging on Facebook and the news about how he's going to go take out the contract on Deathstroke. And this is like the first serious, what I would call Deathstroke scene shows up. He walks into the men's bathroom, smiling for the camera, looking all cocky and speaking in Chinese. And then we see Deathstroke behind him. And Deathstroke punks him out right there in the bathroom, beats him up a little bit, shoves a bunch of what he calls grenades into the mouth because this Chinese Superman can only use one power at a time. He can either focus his chakra to increase his body strength, or he can focus it to increase his speed or normal strength. So he tells the guy that he's going to have to focus on his internal strength to prevent these grenades from killing him, which is basically going to nerf him out so that he's equal to Deathstroke on fighting terms. Chinese Superman's cocky as all hell. They throw hands for a little bit. Deathstroke knocks him unconscious, but before he does, tells him that he lied. Those weren't grenades, those were just gumballs. Haha, he tricked you. And then it moves on. And this is where we get more information about Willow. That's right, it wasn't Scarlet. Willow is her killer name. And she puts on this silly red wig. And I'm sure it has nothing to do with the red-headed Willow and Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I'm sure this is purely an original Willow. And yeah, the big guy's name is David. That's all they say. David. I don't know any more about that. Well, there's also some sort of subplot going on with this guy Joey, who is hunting down these people. Deathstroke's daughter Rose, aka Willow, has apparently figured something out, and she went to go and talk to this Joey guy. But Deathstroke's doing his own thing, and that's when he finds the Chinese Superman is holding somebody hostage to get to him. And maybe that's not the Chinese Superman. Maybe that's somebody else. It could be. It looks like the Chinese Superman, but his costume isn't right. So I don't know. I don't know who this guy is, but he's got this person that Slade was looking for, and he's threatening her. Alex tells me that if I see issue 27, I'll know more about what's going on. But honestly, I feel like a freaking moron reviewing this book because I have no idea what's happening. I'll tell you this much, though. I hate this version of Wintergreen. He's not nearly as cool as the real Wintergreen. And he's just... I don't think anybody else can see him either. So it makes Deathstroke... Honestly, it feels like they turned Deathstroke into Riri, and I hate it. Then at the back, we get some primer pages for the Immortal Men, which is going to be sick. So, if you guys have been reading Deathstroke, then you'll probably love this. I'm sure it's great. If you haven't been reading Deathstroke, don't jump on with this issue. It's not a good jump-on issue at all. I mean, if you're going to jump on, you might as well just read all freaking 27 issues beforehand, including the annual, because then you might be caught up enough to know what's actually going on. All right, fam. Hail Hydra, baby. Y'all have a good one.